to do is just make sure this thing will come around to the finish.
10-second lead now, bud.
Final lap for Carl Edwards, who has led the most laps, trying to coast home with yet another win in 2008.
He's going to make it, guys. Here he comes.
Out of turn 4.
Great job. It's running out right now. It's running out right now. We're out again.
Carl Edwards gets his 9th win of the year, and Jimmy Johnson makes history as a 3-time consecutive NASCAR Sprint Cup champion.
The 2008 season ended with the Office Depot car streaking past the finish line before anyone else. Carl Edwards would have the most bittersweet win of his career. Even though it was his career-high 9th win of the season, he would come up just short of the championship to Jimmy Johnson. The next 2 years would see Edwards fall back to the rest of the pack, scoring no wins for the next 70 races. Edwards finished 11th in points in 2009, and with 2 races to go in 2010, he was out of the championship contention. But he was 4th in points, the highest driver that wasn't in the hunt. And with 2 wins in a row to close out the 2010 campaign, it was clear to all of NASCAR that Carl Edwards was going to be a force for the 2011 championship chase. For the 3rd time in 7 years, NASCAR had changed the championship point system, with the top 10 in the chase now making it, and then 2 more drivers who would be between 11th and 20th in points, but who had the most wins making it as wildcards. The revamp also required drivers to pledge to 1 series in points, which made races like the Daytona 500 in 2011 more interesting in the points race. After a Daytona 500 record of 16 cautions, which took out the majority of the field, the final attempt at the green-white checker finish came. Trevor Bayne and Bobby Labonte quickly drove out to the lead, but as the white flag dropped, Edwards and drafting partner David Gilliland were right there, ready to strike.
Who knows how to win from that position? That's where he won the Bud Shootout from.
Edwards and Gilliland down to the inside. Try to.
Where did that 34 come from?
Try to spoil the party.
Oh my God!
Spoiled the party for Kurt Busch and Montoya in here. They come through turn 4.
Gilliland, former pole sitter of the 500. Edwards has room underneath. Now he pushes Trevor Bayne.
It's over.
Cinderella
Trevor Bayne is going to win the Daytona 500.
Unbelievable.
While Trevor Bayne became the youngest Daytona 500 champion in the history of NASCAR, Carl Edwards became the Cup Series points leader due to Bayne pledging his points to the Nationwide Series. Edwards followed this up with a pole at Phoenix and led 21 laps before being forced down into the backstretch curbing, causing major damage.
The log jam.
Yeah, he had that whole group right there, especially Clint Boyer in that 33 car. Look at Edwards. He ran all the way across the rumble.
Trouble around goes Kane.
Spinning behind you. Nice and easy.
Kevin Harvick in that 29.
Edwards is in the wall. Jeff Gordon, I don't know if Jeff got in the wall or not.
Yeah, I don't know how much damage there, Gil.
The damage and off-track time would push Edwards back to a 28th place finish. Even with a crashed car, the 99 would still have speed. That speed would continue on into the 3rd race of the season at Las Vegas. While Edwards didn't have the fastest car with Tony Stewart dominating the event, he would still stay right there with him. Edwards would first grab the lead on lap 152. He would lead 46 laps before Stewart once again regained control. But as the laps wound down, one final pit stop needed to be executed. Both the drivers got the services they needed on pit road, but with one difference. Stewart's crew made a fatal error fueling the car, while Carl Edwards' crew ran their pit stop without error. It was a difference, as Edwards would cycle through as the leader on lap 245 and never give it up, winning by just over a second over Tony Stewart.
Stewart, after that good strategy call, can get only so close to Carl Edwards. Round turn 3 and into 4. Stewart packed it in there, but Carl Edwards.
That's the first one of the season.
Carl Edwards gives Ford its 4th win in the last 5 races.
Good work, fellas.
Edwards wins the Cobalt Tools 400.
The win was the first of 2011 for Edwards, but also was the 3rd win in the last 5 points races. The 99 Roush team was just about the hottest one in NASCAR. And after finishes of 2nd at Bristol and 6th at Fontana, Edwards gained the points lead. And even with a bump in the road of 18th at Martinsville and falling briefly to 2nd in points, Edwards kept up his hot start with the 3rd at Texas, 6th at Talladega, and 5th at Richmond. So heading into the 2011 Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway, Edwards is up by 9 points over 5-time defending champion Jimmie Johnson. Edwards rolled off the grid in 4th and ran up front for most of the night. He led 57 laps through lap 358. With late pit stops, Regan Smith used strategy to try and steal a win, and after one restart and a yellow flag, Edwards would jump up to be second behind Smith. With the green-white checker finish, Edwards had one more chance.
Smith 1 lap away. Paul Menard blowing up in the back of the pack. White flag.
Can he do it? Can he hold him off?
No matter what, we've got a race now. They'll race it back if we don't get a caution.
Boy, Regan got off to the turn 2.
Oh, he hits the wall.
He's all right. He's okay. He got off there great.
But Edwards didn't jump inside.
They're all wrecking behind him, but it's okay. Can he hold him off? One more corner.
Here we come to the flag.
He's
Regan
got it.
Smith
I think he's
looking
got
for
it.
his first Sprint Cup win. Edwards to Carl Iceberg. Smith gets the flag, and this time he'll get to keep it.
He came up just short, but continued his hot start, which kept going on through the following week at Dover with the 7th place run. Heading into the All-Star race, Edwards was clearly the class of the Cup field, and against the All-Stars of the sport, Edwards put on another point forward to why.
Kyle he waited too long to move up. I think if he moved up sooner, he might have caught Carl and had a shot at him, but it's going to be too little too late.
2 more corners for $1 million. Edwards comes up a groove. Busch close, but not close enough. Carl Edwards wins the Sprint All-Star race and $1 million.
All right, baby. Awesome work, Mr. Ed.
The season hit a speed bump towards the start of the summer, as he was up and down with a 16th in the 600, 5th at Kansas, and 37th at Pocono. After an ill-timed caution while leading, Edwards would finish 5th at Michigan and 3rd the following week, then at Sonoma. Heading to the 17th race of the season, Edwards held the 25-point lead over Harvick. Being 110 points to the good over 11th place cutoff driver Denny Hamlin, Edwards was a virtual lock now, only needing to get bonus points. Daytona offered a wonderful opportunity for Edwards to get a win and more bonus points, especially after his 2nd place run in the 500. But on lap 24, the opportunity vanished.
These guys can run tucked up behind another car.
Trouble, Larry. 99 got turned.
Stay high, keep coming. Good job, keep coming in.
Thought he was going to stay on that line.
He came in leading the points, and Carl Edwards goes around early here at Daytona.
Edwards would get back on track and finish 37th. The poor showing would push him back to 5 points back in points and 2nd behind Kevin Harvick. But finishes of 5th at Kentucky, 13th at Loudon, 14th at Indianapolis, 7th at Pocono, and 12th at Watkins Glen were enough to keep Carl Edwards tied in the points lead with Kyle Busch 4 races out from the chase. Once again, Michigan seemed to be a good place for Edwards to gain the bonus points for the chase he needed. While starting 22nd, everyone still expected Edwards to be a frontrunner. This would prove not to be the case.
Carl Edwards heading to pit road as we go green.
Just feels something weird there. Maybe didn't get all the wheels tight.
They got the hood up on the 99, as you mentioned. It's just spitting and sputtering. They wanted to check the plug wires and make sure the plug wires were tight on it. Carl's going to take it back out, and they're going to see how it's running and then maybe bring it back around.
Once again, the struggles would put Edwards back to a 36th place finish and 4th in points. But with finishes of 9th and 5th at Bristol and Atlanta, hopes began to rise again. And after finishing 2nd at Richmond after leading 113 laps, the confidence for the 99 team was as high as ever heading into the chase. Edwards would start out with a 4-way tie for 5th, 9 points behind leaders Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch. The chase started out on a great note for Edwards. While leading early in the race, Edwards would be mired towards the back half of the top 10 and upper teens as the race closed. But due to many championship contenders running out of fuel, he would finish 4th behind Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. The finish put him 3rd, 10 points behind points leader Kevin Harvick. The following week put the race at New Hampshire in the hands of crew chiefs with pit strategy. Tony Stewart once again would win, as Edwards would race to finish 8th. Edwards would drop back to 4th position, 14 points behind new leader Tony Stewart. After leading 116 laps, Edwards would finish 3rd at Dover behind Kurt Busch and Jimmie Johnson. Even with Edwards gaining a tie for the lead with Kevin Harvick, Johnson loomed only 13 points back in 5th. And after the 48 led 197 laps and won the race at Kansas, he closed to within 4 points of the 99. Edwards was only 1 point ahead of Harvick as well. The following 3 weeks would prove to be a crucial stretch for who would fight for the championship at Homestead. While drivers like Dale Jr., Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, and Denny Hamlin all fell out of the hunt due to running mediocre, other drivers had specific moments that did them in for the title. For Jimmy Johnson, it was Charlotte.
Well, let's send it back to you, but don't forget about Ambrose. He finished 6th here in the spring.
And having a top 5 night hang on there. Jimmy Johnson, sideways. Is he going to be able to sideways? What a hard hit.
And Talladega took down chasers Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, I think one of the things working against...
Oh, no, trouble. Allmendinger turned around. Kyle Busch makes contact. More cars involved. Harvick is in it, one of the championship drivers. It's Michael Waltrip in the 15, behind Labonte in the 47.
Landon Castle got a piece of that also. See here.
Kurt Busch. Hard lick for Kurt Busch and Bob.
Then Martinsville did it in for Kenseth and Keselowski.
Watch Kenseth and watch Kyle Busch.
See, Matt's already locking it up, getting into the corner. He'd gotten in too hard. See the smoke.
He said on that little bit of radio, we just heard him say, I thought I heard him say the right front was down when he went into the corner, or went down when he hit the brakes. Oh, Junior! Nudged around, he and Logano tangled.
Keselowski goes around.
Around here. No caution. Keep rolling. Come on.
With Tony Stewart winning and having finishes of 7th and 8th, it was clear that it was a two-man hunt for the championship. Edwards' finishes of 3rd at Charlotte, 11th at Talladega, and 9th at Martinsville kept him 8 points above Stewart. With 3 races to go at Texas, Carl Edwards needed the elite speed he had throughout the season. By lap 100, both Stewart and Edwards had gained a bonus point for leading a lap. But as Edwards would only lead 13 of those laps that day and finish 2nd, his rival Stewart would lead 173 laps and win, cutting the points lead down now to 3 points with 2 races to go. Stewart would use his post-race interview to let the competition know where he stood.
Nobody has ever gone winless in the regular season and come out and won the championship. You were on your way. 3 points within Carl Edwards. What do you have to say to your competition this week?
I don't think we have to say anything. I think our performance today spoke for itself, so he knows already, trust me.
While Stewart would lead 160 laps the following week, he would still finish 3rd, a spot behind Edwards, who had also led plenty of laps. With Miami being the only race left, Edwards led Stewart by 3 points. Both were the only 2 drivers left with any shot at the title. The finale was between the sport's most consistent and confident drivers. Edwards would start from the pole in Miami, while Stewart started 15th. Stewart was aggressive from the start as Edwards ran away with the lead. Kurt Busch would have trouble with his transmission running in 3rd. A piece of that transmission would puncture a hole into the front grille of Tony Stewart's car. On lap 14, the caution would come out for rain. It was a good opportunity for the 14 team to fix the problem they had.
You see the 14 team of Tony Stewart feverishly working on the front of their car. Stewart has hit something and it has put a big hole in the front of the grille, although Tony indicated he did not recall hitting anything at all, said he didn't feel as though he had hit any debris, but there's a hole about twice the size of a man's fist there in the front.
Stewart would need to now make up the gap of the entire field on Edwards. Edwards, on the other hand, was running well, gaining the lead again with another restart. By lap 47, though, Tony Stewart was back inside the top 20. He continued to drive forwards towards the leader, Carl Edwards, but once again rain would become a factor on the 109th lap of the race. Edwards was in the lead, Stewart was now in 5th. The long delay was a halftime break of sorts. The race would finish out under the lights. After pit stops, Edwards restarted 3rd, with the 14 right beside him. And after 5 laps, it was Stewart who took the lead, gaining a bonus point.
But he's got to run this time. Can he do the slide job on him in 3?
Well, I think Gordon saw that Tony was bound and determined to get the lead right now and get that bonus point. He wasn't going to put either one of them in a bad position. Tony's going to get this.
Carl got a good view of that, too, to see that determination.
The title race was now tilted 1 point in Stewart's favor. With both the 14 and 99 running up towards the front, Stewart had the edge on the tiebreaker, having more wins than Edwards. It was looking more and more likely that Edwards needed to win the race to win the title, especially with Stewart's late race aggression.
Pit road and all.
This green flag restart presented by American Ethanol. Stewart out of line, quickly on the move in turn 1. 1 laps to go. Green flag. Three wide again. It's Kyle Busch to the bottom side, and they're 3 wide for the lead up front. Truex through on the bottom of the 56 car.
Here comes Tony underneath.
Look at Stewart. To the high side this time, 4 wide. Not finished yet. Wow.
With 53 to go, rain struck again, with Edwards in the lead. He would pit to make sure the 99 machine could make it to the end on fuel. Stewart would restart third, just a row in front of Carl. With 37 to go, the field restarted.
Stewart to the bottom, 3 wide for the race lead.
3 wide, you're bottom, still 3 wide.
Maybe 4 as the 99 comes down the back straightaway here.
Kyle Busch and Keselowski not giving in. Stewart by Busch. Here's Edwards trying to keep pace.
With fuel being a non-issue, Edwards' task for the rest of the season now was simple. Run down the 14 and beat him. With 32 laps left in the season, the points were tied. Winner take all. A season's worth of effort on the line. Stewart held steady with a lead between 1.1 and 1.3 seconds until about 10 to go. At that point, the 99 turned up his lap times. Lap traffic would come into play, keeping Edwards within 0.8 of a second of Stewart. But with 6 to go, lap cars of Mike Bliss and Andy Lally ran side by side right in front of Edwards, effectively ending his championship hopes. As with 5 laps to go, he was once again over a second behind. The laps would wind down, and the Office Depot car streaked past the finish line before anyone else.
2002, he was the champion. 2005, he was the champion, those driving for someone else. This time, he's an older driver, and he's going to become a 3-time NASCAR Sprint Cup champion. Tony Stewart wins it.
This time, though, it would win the championship, but without Edwards in it. Edwards would show his class after the race. To this day, the 2011 championship is the only title tie in NASCAR Cup Series history. Both Stewart and Edwards would retire at the conclusion of the 2016 season, which makes many wonder, what if Edwards had just won one more race? What if he had just gained only one more position in any of the final 10 races? What if, in 2011, Carl Edwards had captured his missing ring?